Sri Lanka's biggest strategic challenge is not India's hostility. It is India's proximity. That may sound counterintuitive. The issue is structural dependence. And that dependence is shaped by geography, economics, and scale. Let's break it down. First, the economic dimension. Sri Lanka already runs a trade deficit of over $3 billion annually with India. This is not just imbalance, it is structural asymmetry. Indian manufacturers operate at a scale Sri Lankan industries cannot match. Over time, this creates a predictable outcome. Domestic industries weaken, imports rise, and dependence deepens. This is not sudden collapse, it is gradual absorption. Then comes capital. Sri Lanka is still in a post-crisis phase with privatization underway. Indian firms have the financial strength to invest or acquire across key sectors: ports, logistics, retail, energy. Individually, these are investments. Collectively, they can concentrate influence, not through control, but through presence. Second, crisis dependency. India has become Sri Lanka's default first responder. Fuel, credit, emergency assistance. This support is essential, but it creates a structural reality: reliance. In March 2026, when supply disruptions hit, India provided emergency fuel shipments to stabilize the situation. But this raises a critical question. If one country becomes your primary crisis manager, how independent are your policy choices? This is not about intention. India has not weaponized its position, but the capability exists. And in geopolitics, capability shapes outcomes regardless of intent. Debt reinforces this dynamic. As a bilateral creditor, India holds influence within Sri Lanka's restructuring process. Indirectly, it also carries weight within institutions like the IMF. This is not control, but it is leverage, and leverage narrows policy space. Third, infrastructure and regional strategy. India is rapidly building regional connectivity, ports, corridors, logistics networks. But these networks may not center Sri Lanka. India is investing heavily in ports like Vizhinjam, which directly competes with Colombo's transshipment role. If cargo shifts, Sri Lanka risks losing one of its core structural advantages. Next, India's security concerns are legitimate: Chinese presence in ports, maritime security, terrorism, illegal fishing. But these concerns generate expectations on surveillance, naval access, and policy alignment. Each instance may be justified, but repeated patterns create precedent. Take fisheries. Indian trawlers entering Sri Lankan waters are not just an economic problem, they are a sovereignty issue. Now add political pressure from Tamil Nadu. Domestic politics in India begins to influence outcomes within Sri Lanka. These are not simple questions, and they do not have simple answers. Now step back. None of these pressures require hostile intent. That is the key insight. India does not need to act against Sri Lanka for Sri Lanka to experience strategic pressure. Because the relationship is asymmetrical, India is larger economically, demographically, and militarily. Policies designed for India's growth will inevitably create external effects. This is asymmetric interdependence, and it defines the relationship. Sri Lanka's challenge is not managing an adversary, it is managing a partner that is too large, too close, and too influential to ignore. So what is the way forward? Not rejection, not blind alignment, but calibrated balance. Sri Lanka must engage India, while diversifying beyond it. It must accept cooperation, while protecting autonomy. It must leverage proximity without being absorbed by it. Because geography is fixed, India will not move. The only variable is strategy. Will Sri Lanka shape this relationship or be shaped by it? Because in geopolitics, proximity is not just an advantage, it is constant pressure. And managing that pressure is Sri Lanka's real strategic challenge.